The fitenso daily survey is comprised of 5 sections and 23 questions and shouldn't take more than a few minutes to complete every day. It should ideally be completed around about the same time every day, immediately after waking. The health section is comprised of 7 questions. Your weight should be taken immediately first thing in the morning, ideally after you've been to the toilet, in order to get a consistent weight from day to day. Your resting heart rate should also be taken first thing in the morning, ideally before you get out of bed. Your heart rate variability is the same thing. It should be taken first thing in the morning, ideally before you get out of bed. Note that your heart rate variability will only be tracked if you have chosen to turn that option on your user profile. If you answer quite stressed or very stressed to the next question, then you will be asked what the cause of that stress is. If you have felt grumpy in the past 24 hours, then you should answer yes to this question. Note that this grumpiness is often a manifestation of overtiredness, or perhaps when you are not managing either your life load or your training load. We may not feel stressed, but that stress materializes in our shortness of temper or in a bad mood. If you answer getting sick, getting better, or yes to the are you sick question, you will be asked what symptoms you are currently experiencing. Similar thing with are you injured, where if you answer niggle or yes, you will be asked where you are injured. The load section is comprised of 4 questions. It attempts to get an idea as to whether you are not only managing your training load, but also the load that your life, including work, family, and other commitments, are placing on you. If you are currently struggling or feeling overwhelmed with your training and life load, so that is the sum of both the training that you're taking on as well as everything else that's going on in your life, then you should answer appropriately on this question. Your current level of overall fatigue is a good long-term tracker to identify how you are feeling and given the current training and life load. If you have been working less than normal, say for example you've been on holiday or you've been working fewer hours than normal, or above normal, so for example you've been working extra hours or it's a particularly stressful time of year for you, then you should answer this question appropriately. If you feel as though you still have DOMS, that is muscle pain or tightness or any other symptom of the load of your recent training, then you should answer no, that you have not recovered from your recent training. The habits section at 9 questions is the biggest section of the survey. The questions are relatively self-explanatory, but they attempt to track whether you are doing or whether you have certain habits which can accelerate your recovery or improve the quality of your recovery between training sessions. Key areas of recovery include your sleep and your diet. 2 areas of diet are covered, that is your food that you ate, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and any snacks that you ate through the day, as well as any specific food which you ate after training. If yesterday was the rest day, then choose rest day as the appropriate answer. If you did multiple sessions on yesterday, then and you only refueled after some of them, then you should answer some sessions. If you did a single session and you refueled after it, or if you did multiple sessions and you refueled after each of them, then you should choose yes. The rest of the habits are reasonably self-explanatory. Although the final thoughts section is only 2 questions, it can sometimes be one of the more difficult sections to answer, as it really requires us to think and to sometimes look inside of us, to, especially when it has been a tough couple of days, to identify what we should be thankful for today. Although it's tough, this is one area where we can get some of the most value out of fitenso, because it forces us to not only measure what has gone wrong, but also to be appreciative or grateful for the things which are going right and the opportunities which we have in front of us. So what am I especially thankful for today? Well, I get to train today. I'm one of the lucky few who gets to train today. If there are any other comments that you want to put in here, then please feel free. Note that this information will only be shared with yourself and with your coach should you choose to share that. On completion of the survey, just click the Save Survey button. Once you have completed the daily survey, you will be taken across to your dashboard. Daily survey results can be found in two sections on the dashboard. The first one is an overview and it begins with a chart showing over the past 28 days your survey scores, any training load, your weight, your resting heart rate, and your heart rate variability should you choose to track it. The next section on the right is a section called Cautions. It displays any immediate concerns that you may have based on the survey that you have completed today. Insights drills down in a little bit more detail to have a look at your trends over the past 7 days and compare them to your trends from the past. It also takes your trends from the past 7 days and compares them to the rest of the fitenso user base. So for example, if you have been less healthy than you are normally, that will be displayed in the Insights section, or if you have been less healthy than the greater fitenso user base over the past 7 days, that will also be displayed. You're also given a summary of today's score. In my case, it's 63%. That's made up of a health score of 48, a load score of 75, and a habit score of 100%. Underneath that, you'll find the Insights section. It gives you a reminder of what you said you were grateful for today. I get to train. It gives you information about your weight. Note that my weight 1 month ago was 2 kilograms lighter than it is today. It's been Christmas, so I've put on a lot of weight. And also my weight 2 weeks ago, or 15 days ago in this particular case, was also lighter. The weights displayed on the bottom section with the asterisks are all made up of your 3-day average weights in order to minimize any day-to-day fluctuations in your weight. Your resting heart rate is displayed, which also gives you an average resting heart rate and a standard deviation, so how variable your average resting heart rate is. It gives you a summary of what your resting heart rate is compared to yesterday and compared to your average. I've been a little bit sick over the past month, so my resting heart rate has been slightly elevated, which is why my current resting heart rate is below average. The next block displays your energy expenditure based on the Mifflin-St. equation, which takes into consideration your gender, your height, and your weight to calculate the number of calories that you should be expected to burn. Sedentary equals somebody who basically sits at a desk all day. Low is somebody who sits at a desk and walks around during the day. Active is somebody who exercises up to 1 hour per day. And very active is someone who exercises multiple hours per day. The next section is the health trend section. It shows the results of the health surveys for the past 28 days. Green generally indicates good, red indicates bad, and anything else indicates somewhere in between. The scores displayed underneath each of these trend sections gives us an average score over the past 28 days. So in this case, my health was on average 65% over the past 28 days. The next section is the load section and tells us how we answered the load related questions. It tells us about how we answered the life load question, how fatigued we felt, what our workload looked like, and whether we had recovered on a day-to-day basis. Again, we're given scores for the trends over the past 28 days. And the final block is the habits block. This, again, green equals you followed best practice on that particular habit. Red equals you didn't follow best practice. And yellow is a partial answer. So, for example, on the refuel question, yellow means you refueled for some sessions. The scores, again, indicate how well you have implemented those habits over the past 28 days. Finally, there's a little message which tells us when we have last been for a massage and whether it would be a good time to go for a massage now. And that is a summary of the daily survey.